Writing, A Guide for College and Beyond, 4th edition, by Lester Faigley. Chapter 26, Writing Effective Sentences. Effective sentences bring energy, clarity, and shape to a writer's ideas. In this chapter, you will learn to pay attention to verbs, stay in the active voice, focus on people and actors, write concise and ethical sentences, match structure with ideas. Pay attention to verbs, the importance of verbs. A teacher may have once told you that verbs are action words. Where are the action words in the following paragraph? LeBron James was the leader in the Miami Heat's win over the San Antonio Spurs in Game 6. James was the star in the victory with 16 points in the fourth quarter, even without his trademark headband. His totals were 32 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists for a triple-double. Reading much prose like this would put you to sleep quickly. James played a dramatic game, but the above description deflates his achievement. Changing was and were to verbs that express action bring to life his outstanding performance. LeBron James denied the San Antonio Spurs a win in Game 6 that would have clinched the 2013 NBA championship. He powered the Miami Heat to victory, exploding for 16 points in the fourth quarter, even though he lost his trademark headband. James scored 32 points, grabbed 10 rebounds, and dished out 11 assists for a triple-double. Strengthen your verbs when you revise. Circle every is, are, was, and were. Think about the action. Does the verb express the action? Can you think of a better verb? Weak verbs. Jack Black is considerably skilled in physical comedy, and his overblown mannerisms are wisely downplayed. Strong verbs. Jack Black excels in physical comedy, and he wisely downplays his overblown mannerisms. Stay active. Active versus passive. The passive voice reverses the order of a sentence, allowing whoever or whatever did the action expressed in the verb to be deleted. Who misplaced the laptop? It's a mystery. The laptop containing personal data on 38,000 employees was misplaced. Passive. Revise passive sentences. Most of the time, your goal is not to conceal, but to communicate. The pear tree in the front yard was demolished by the storm. Passive. The storm demolished the pear tree in the front yard. Active. Watch for passive sentences and convert them to active voice whenever possible. Listen to the difference. A request on your part will be reviewed, by the admissions committee, passive. The graduate admissions committee will review your request, active. Ask who or what is doing the action. If the doer is not the subject, consider rewriting so the doer is the subject. Uses of the passive. In some situations, passive voice can be used in academic and workplace writing. Passive sentences are useful when you want to keep the focus on the person or thing being acted on. Our January sales were increased substantially by our deep discounts. The focus is on increased January sales, not deep discounts. Analog and digital data are simulated together before the company commits to the expense of manufacturing. The process of simulation is the focus, not the unknown people who perform simulations. Focus on people and actors. Ask what is going on. Original. Eligibility for transfer admission, as defined by Big State U, is restricted to persons who have begun coursework at another college or university and now wish to study at Big State U, which includes persons who have obtained an undergraduate degree at another institution and now wish to pursue a different degree plan at Big State U. Reading much of what's written today is like digging for clams in a mudflat. Read this sentence adapted from a university admissions website, and you can figure out what it says if you read it 2 or 3 times. But it doesn't have to be this bad. Revised. If you want to attend Big State U, but you've already started your studies at another college or university, you should apply as a transfer student. Even if you've earned an undergraduate degree at another college or university and want to work toward a different degree, you should apply for transfer admission. The secret to writing clearly is to begin by asking, what is going on? Maybe the doer, the subject, and what is being done, the verb. In this case, at admissions website, the doer is you, the visitor to the site who wants to apply. Original. When the process of freeing a vehicle that has been stuck results in ruts or holes, the operator is required to fill the rut or hole by such an activity before removing the vehicle from the immediate area. Focus on people. If people are involved, make them the grammatical subjects. Keeping the focus on people makes your writing more emphatic because people do things that you can express in active verbs. Revised. If you make a hole while freeing a stuck vehicle, you must fill the hole before you drive away. Original. The celebration of Martin Luther King Day had to be postponed because of inclement weather. Find actors. When people are not present, identify the institutions and concepts involved and make them the subjects. Revised. The severe ice storm forced the city to postpone the Martin Luther King Day celebration. Write concise sentences. Revise wordy sentences. Unnecessary words creep into writing in the form of clutter and wordy phrases. Writers who are unsure of themselves overuse phrases like, in my opinion, or I think, to qualify their points. Stock phrases plague writing in the media and the workplace, where some writers may think that at this point in time sounds more impressive than now. If you find wordy phrases in your own prose, cut them. The words in bold are unnecessary. You can say the same thing with half the words and gain more impact as a result. In regards to the website, the content is pretty successful. In consideration of the topic, the site is fairly good writing wise and is very unique in telling you how to adjust the rear derailleur one step at a time. Writers who impress us most are those who use words efficiently. The well-written website on bicycle repair provides step-by-step instructions on adjusting your rear derailleur. Eliminate redundancy. Some words act as modifiers, but when you look closely at them, they repeat in the meaning of the word. They pretend to modify. Have you heard expressions such as red in color, small in size, round in shape, or honest truth? Imagine red not referring to color, or round not referring to shape. Intensifiers modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs, and they are often overused. Very and totally are but two of a list of empty intensifiers that usually can be eliminated with no loss of meaning. Other empty intensifiers include absolutely, awfully, definitely, incredibly, particularly, and really. Replace wordy phrases. Wordy at this point in time. Concise now. Wordy due to the fact that. Concise because. Wordy have the ability to. Concise can. Wordy in the modern world of today. Concise today. Wordy in spite of the fact that. Concise although. Wordy the great writer by the name of William Shakespeare. Concise William Shakespeare. Write ethical sentences. Avoid stereotypes. A stereotype makes an assumption about a group of people by applying a characteristic to all of them, based on knowledge you know only of a few of them. Of course, you want to avoid harmful and inaccurate stereotypes such as people on welfare are lazy or NASCAR fans are rednecks. More subtle stereotypes, however, may be harder to identify and eliminate. If you want to offer an engineer as an example, will you make the engineer a man? Try to choose examples that go against stereotypes. Avoid bias. Pay attention to the way your language characterizes individuals and groups of people on the basis of their gender, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or age. While the conventions of language change continually, 3 guidelines for inclusive language towards all groups remain constant. Do not point out people's differences unless those differences are relevant to your argument. Call people whatever they prefer to be called. When given a choice of terms, choose the more precise one. Vietnamese, for example, is preferable to Asian. Eliminate gender bias by using the following tips. Use men and women or people instead of man. Use humanity or humankind in place of mankind. Original. Investigators at the contractor will review the facts in your case and decide the most appropriate course of action. The first step taken with most Medicare health care providers is to re-educate them about Medicare regulations and policies. If the practice continues, the contractor may conduct special audits of the provider's medical records. Often, the contractor recovers overpayments to healthcare providers this way. If there is sufficient evidence to show that the provider is consistently violating the Medicare policies, the contractor will document the violations and ask the Office of the Inspector General to prosecute the case. This can lead to expulsion from the Medicare program, civil monetary penalties, and imprisonment. Make your writing user-friendly. Too much writing is excessively complicated in wording. Think about what your readers need to know. Medicare beneficiary services receive thousands of fraud complaints each year. The agency revised its reply letter to get to the point. Revised. We will look into this matter. We will find out if it was an error or fraud. We will let you know the result. Match structure with ideas. Use parallel structure with parallel ideas. When writers neglect to use parallel structure, the result can be jarring. Reading your writing aloud will help you catch problems in parallelism. Read this sentence aloud. At our club meeting, we identified problems in finding new members, publicizing our activities, and maintenance of our websites. The end of the sentence does not sound right because the parallel structure is broken. We expect to find another verb, ing, following finding and publicizing. Instead, we run into a maintenance, a noun. The problem is easy to fix. Change the noun to the ing verb form. At our club meeting, we identified problems in finding new members, publicizing our activities, and maintaining our website. Use parallel structure with lists. Lists are an effective way of presenting a series of items at the level of importance. The effectiveness of a list is lost, however, if the items are not in parallel form. For example, a bulleted list of actions items, such as a list of goals, beginning each item with a verb emphasizes the action. Sailing club goals. Increase membership by 50% this year. Offer beginning and advanced classes. Organize spring banquets. Publicize all major events. Pair grammatical elements. Match grammatical elements to provide strong parallelism in sentences with parallel ideas or lists. Purchasing the undeveloped land not only gives us a new park, but is something that our children will benefit from in the future. Awkward. Purchasing the undeveloped land will not only give our city a new park, but also will leave our children a lasting inheritance. Parallel. Summary for editing sentences. Pay attention to verbs. Circle every is, are, was, and were. Think about the action. Does the verb express the action? Can you think of a better verb? Amanda was a teacher of new skills to our unit. Better. Amanda taught new skills to our new unit. Stay active. Ask who or what is doing the action. If the doer is writing the subject, consider rewriting so the doer is the subject. But making a video rather than writing a paper was chosen by 1/3 of our class. Better. 1/3 of our class chose to make a video rather than write a paper. Find characters. Use characters as the subjects of sentences. Strong disagreement arose over the decision to close Hill Elementary School. Better. Neighborhood residents expressed their outrage when the school board voted to close Hill Elementary School. Write concise sentences. Eliminate wordy phrases, redundant modifiers, and empty intensifiers from your sentences. In one of his more famous nature writings, entitled Walden, the great American writer Henry Thoreau writes one of the nature's smaller entities, ants. Avoid ethnical sentences. Avoid stereotypes and biased language by using inclusive and accurate language instead. Be specific rather than using broad labels. The very old seniors living in nursing homes are often senile. Better. Many nursing home residents over 90 suffer from symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. Match grammatical structure with ideas. Match elements to provide strong parallelism in sentences with parallel ideas. If you run on hot, sunny days, drink water before you run, drink water while you run, avoiding coffee and alcohol. Wearing sunscreen while looking for some shade. Better. If you run on hot, sunny days, drink water before you run, drink water while you run, avoid coffee and alcohol. Wear sunscreen and choose routes with some shade.